Kenya's urban space is rapidly getting inflamed with a high population that chokes basic services like water, shelter and energy provisions. Urbanization is on a swift sprint as former agricultural land speedily transform into industrial and real estate arenas. This triggers mass rural to urban migration where citizens chase better livelihoods.
Urbanization is unstoppable. It will happen, and the challenge is not to stop it. The challenge is how to ensure urban areas are properly managed, are properly planned, and are properly provided for.
In order to have effective urban planning and management, there is a need to prioritize bottom-up community initiatives in the push for equitable and sustainable development in cities. This means that the state must engage appropriately and frequently with both the market and civil society in pursuit of sustainable cities.
Kenya's census report of 2009 places over 12 million citizens in urban areas, that is 32.5% of the total population. Sadly, nearly 60% of the urban population live in informal settlements. Yet the urban space constantly shrinks and squeezes the urban poor a lot more to the periphery. Such suffer constant relegation, hence assume shacks and shanties for housing and filth in place of sanitation. Although the infrastructure for the urban areas presents a sound string of roads and bridges, the urban poor only knows alleys of constrictions with minimal bad roads that hamper access for dwellers and impede rescue operations in time of disaster. Besides, most of the urban poor occupy government land, mostly railway, road, pipeline and power line reserves. The underlying dangers are devastating to say the least.
From an examination point of view, how inclusive, safe and resilient can we start to determine our urban centers to be?
Kenya's towns and cities apply the traditional urban planning where residential, industrial and commercial areas are strictly designated. Workers then have to travel long distances, mainly through motorized transport. This abets traffic congestion that cost the economy a whopping 50 million shillings every day. Life in informal settlements is further slammed by pollution from open garbage dumps that substantially compromise residents' health. Poor drainage and sewerage systems also invite storm waters, often sweeping away property and sometimes lives. Employment demands dwarf employment opportunities, especially for the urban poor. This exposes many youths to crime, drug abuse and lately radicalization, which have been largely responsible for insecurity.
As counties are setting up their administrative headquarters, very gradually these administrative headquarters are taking the shape and form of the capital urban areas of these particular counties.
These are fast developing into urban spaces where investors pitch plants in mostly poorly planned areas. Such upcoming industries also seem to privilege profit over employees' welfare, thus hardly provide workers with basic services like housing, sustainable energy sources, recreational and educational facilities.
One of the biggest problems we are seeing is that these changes are happening faster than we have been able to provide for in terms of planning, in terms of saying, how do we work on the sewerage system? How do we deal with the garbage collection and waste management? How do we expand the roads? How do we have more security lights? And where do we get all the parking space? And where are all the tuk-tuks?
Civil Society Urban Development Platform (CSUDP) operates in Kenya and has been mainly funded by the Embassy of Sweden in Nairobi. CSUDP carries out different programs aimed at enhancing public participation in decision-making, coordination of civil society initiatives for maximum impact, and engagement with authorities toward policy formulation and implementation. CSUDP supports demonstration of proposed service delivery options in the areas of housing, clean and efficient energy, water, sanitation, and livelihood support for disenfranchised youths in informal settlements. Such include primary housing cooperative model implemented by National Cooperative Housing Union. This has delivered proper housing for over 6,000 beneficiaries in 5 counties. Clean energy microfinancing model by CAREP Development Agency that supports low-income consumers through microfinance to purchase clean cook stoves and solar lanterns as alternatives to kerosene, firewood, and other inefficient fuels. Delegated water access model under Pamoja Trust has seen utility providers partner with community groups to provide safe and affordable water to informal settlements. Through Pamoja Trust, the social tenure domain model has been introduced. This is an initiative of UN Habitat to support proper land administration. This model has been sufficiently applied in railway relocation projects where at least 9,000 dwellers are set to benefit. Youth empowerment through music, arts and culture continue through Uwezo Awareness Organization. Disadvantaged youths are engaged and empowered with the aim of safeguarding them against negative influences. Besides, the Amani Lazima Youth Talent and Mentorship implemented through Sarakasi Trust harnesses youth's inherent talents to build them into performing artists and to expose them to new economic opportunities in the entertainment industry. In the Promoting Associations, Governance and Equity model done by Umande Trust, Biocenter facilities and solar-powered water kiosks have been set up. Housing and urban basic services advocacy thrives through the Economic and Social Rights Center Haki Jamii. This has seen to light the drafting of the Community Land Bill, the Evictions and Resettlement Bill, the draft National Slum Upgrading and Prevention Policy, among others. To promote the vibrancy and dignity of the disadvantaged urban majority, CSUDP facilitates small grants projects carried out by local urban forums. These have delivered 13 interventions including rehabilitation of public spaces, beautification and greening of urban streets, solid waste management, water and sanitation services, as well as subsidiary legislation.
By the year 2050, 50% of our national population will be residing within the urban areas. And for that reason, we need to have very pragmatic and deliberate efforts made at both levels of government to promote sustainable urban planning.
That is why CSUDP develops local capacities to influence policy and budget priorities in different counties through the local urban forums now spread across 15 towns.
The urban program is extremely exciting because cities are growing so fast in Kenya that there's a massive gap in services and infrastructure which can be provided by the government. The World Bank is attempting to narrow that gap through a number of urban programs.
Toward developing policy priorities for urbanization, the World Bank recommends effective urban management and governance structures, modernized land and planning institutions, and sustainable urban financing frameworks to fund the urban services and infrastructure agenda. Indeed, urbanization is more than the development of individual cities, but rather a wholesome approach in improving lives. Toward this end, the Swedish International Development Agency (SIDA) has been Kenya's partner in urban development while supporting different urban development initiatives.
Sweden has been a close partner basically in the sector, working closely with the World Bank, but also trying to support civil society, trying to support the government directly. And we are committed to continue this support.
For this commitment, I thank all those involved in the process and the people and the government of Sweden through their embassy in Nairobi.
The results are amazing and can ripple further to the more marginalized if adequately funded for further scale-up.